Hi, I'm Jay Jalbert. How to hold a stick. Before teaching your players anything about throwing, catching, dodging, or cradling, they must first be comfortable with a stick in their hands. Odds are a first-timer will grip his hands too low near the butt end, too high thumbing the throat of the stick, or too close together. Instruct your players to position their hands hip-width apart, meaning the distance between their bottom and top hands is about the same as the distance between their hips. The stick head should be raised next to their ears, left or right, forming a box from which they will catch and throw. The bottom hand should grip the stick handle above the butt end, tight enough to stabilize the stick, but loose enough to allow them to cradle. The top hand should hold the stick in its fingertips, not the palm. This too will help when it comes time to cradle. The mechanics of cradling, throwing, and catching cannot be installed until your player realizes how his body should be positioned when performing these skills. Ready position refers to a ball carrier's position in relation to his defender. To be in ready position, a player's stick should be perpendicular to the defender, and he should be holding his stick on the outside of his body to protect the ball, keeping it between the defender and his stick. To start, this should be a level 1 player's positioning when he cradles, throws, and catches. Reinforce that he return to this position after every throw, catch, or ground ball. This will instill early the nature of ball protection. Cradling is one of the most important skills in lacrosse. It keeps the ball centered in the stick pocket as a player moves about the field and allows him to maintain possession and control the ball while doing so. Cradling is also the basis of all other skills. It sets the ball on the shooting strings before throwing and absorbs the ball as part of its motion in catching. A level 1 player must master cradling before moving on to other skills such as throwing, catching, and shooting. Cradling is the motion of the stick head that creates a centrifugal force on the ball to keep it in the pocket. Demonstrate these physics to your players. The force is created by moving both arms and wrists in unison, in a semicircular motion around the ball. Two-handed cradle. Instruct your player to use a two-handed cradle in open field. This allows maximum control and stick protection with little to no pressure from the defenders on the ball carrier's hands. Position the top hand 2 or 3 inches below the bottom of the head or throat of the stick. The bottom hand should be relaxed and not disrupting that centrifugal force. The bottom hand is also responsible for protecting the stick. Reiterating what was taught earlier in this course, the stick should be held not in the player's palm, but in the tips of his fingers and thumb for better control and wrist protection. With hands in position, your player should use the top hand to turn the stick in a semicircular motion, creating the centrifugal force. He should use his top hand wrist to curl the stick like a bar in and out, while his bottom hand allows the stick handle to rotate around his palm. Instruct your player to keep his elbow raised so that the stick is parallel to his body. The two-handed cradle is not all in the wrists, it's in the arms too. Your player's arms should move backward and forward as he curls his wrists in and out respectively to generate force on the ball. Allow more advanced players to experiment with variations. One-handed cradle. At this level, if your player can move about the field cradling two-handed, you're already ahead of the competition. But once he is comfortable doing so, it is time for him to let go of that bottom hand and learn how to cradle with one hand. This skill is instrumental when a defender is in close and applying pressure to the ball carrier's bottom hand. It'll prevent the defender from dislodging the ball and at the same time allow the bottom hand to be used for stick protection. While performing a two-handed cradle, the player should release his bottom hand, but maintain the cradling motion of his top hand. His bottom hand should be brought above his waist and is now a shield with which he can protect the ball and absorb the defender's checks. His top hand should continue to curl in and out, with the stick rolling between the fingertips to maintain the centrifugal force needed to keep the ball in the stick. Arm movement should be the same as when a player is running freely without the ball. When the arm holding the stick moves forward, so does the free hand protecting the stick. Just as a two-handed cradle, the player's elbow should be raised so that the stick is parallel to his body. With a one-handed cradle, however, make sure the ball carrier's elbows are not only up, but also away from the body, to allow for a quick transfer between hands. This will also create better stick protection and prevent him from warding off his defenders with his free hand. Stick protection. Cradling can leave a player exposed. One of the most difficult traits for a beginner to learn is stick protection. It should be taught in conjunction with cradling, with the following precepts in mind. The ball carrier's body should be positioned between his stick and the defender. Instruct him to hold his stick at shoulder height and in a vertical position parallel to his body. His top hand should hold the stick about chest high, near the armpit. The ball carrier should also keep his head up. Just as his body is shielding the bottom of the stick, his helmet is shielding the stick head in the box position. The bottom hand provides the main element of protection while cradling, especially with one hand. The ball carrier's thumb should be pointed down and out, and like the elbow, extended away from his body. This does two things. It forms a natural curve of the shoulders for protection and keeps the thumb and palm in a ready position if the bottom hand returns to make a pass. Also, when cradling one-handed, the elbow of the arm holding the stick should be up so that the forearm is horizontal to the ground. If your player's forearm is horizontal and parallel, his stick will be vertical and perpendicular, maximizing protection. Error. The player is dropping the ball when cradling. Correction. Make sure his mechanics are right. Is his elbow up and the stick perpendicular to the ground? Are his arms moving in the same manner as if you were running in and out? Review the elements of hand and body positioning so that the stick is being held properly and the hands and wrists are moving in accord to create centrifugal force.